Dear students, up to now we have already discussed about carbohydrates and also fat. In both the cases, we have discussed about the various sources of carbohydrates and fats. We have also discussed about the function of carbohydrates and fats. We have discussed about the constituents with which carbohydrates and fats are made up of. And finally, we have discussed about the taste, the confirmatory test of starch, of carbohydrate and fat. How will we come to know about the presence of this starch or fat? That also we have discussed. Today we will proceed in our discussion, and so we will start discussing about proteins. Proteins contain nitrogen in addition to carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. They are needed to make new cells for growth and to replace old cells. Rather, we also say they are the building materials for our body. Or other words, we can say that they are needed to build and repair our tissues. That is why growing children, people recovering from illness and pregnant women need more and more amount of protein. Our hair, our nails, our skin and muscles, these all are made up of mostly proteins. Wool and silk are also made of protein. We get protein from various animal sources such as milk, egg, the white portion of the egg, meat, fish, etc. In the same way, we also get these proteins from plant sources also, like pulses, corn, soybean, whole wheat and nuts. Animal proteins are considered better than plant proteins because they are more completely digested by the body. Soybean is the best source of plant protein. We cannot store protein in our body. Excess proteins are either broken down and excreted out as urea or converted into fats. Proteins can provide us with energy if necessary. However, their main function is to form new tissues. Now, let us discuss about the confirmatory test for protein. How will we understand the presence of protein in a food? Let us add a few drops of concentrated nitric acid to some egg white or a paste of soybean flour in a test tube. Let us heat the test tube gently until and unless its content turns yellow. Pour out the acid into a beaker and let us pour a few drops of ammonium hydroxide into the test tube. Let us shake up the tube and you will see that the content turns violet. This change in color shows that the food sample contains protein. So, this was about the confirmatory test for understanding the presence of protein. Now, let us come into the next part of our food chapter, that is vitamins. Vitamins are essential for the healthy functioning of the body. Okay? Animals cannot manufacture these compounds, so they need to get them from plants. Only minute quantities of these compounds are needed by the body. But by hearing this statement that only minute quantities of these compounds are needed, do not imply that we can run our life, our daily life, without this vitamin. No. If our diet lacks these nutrients, we can fall ill, severely ill, and the diseases caused by the lack of vitamins can be of various types. The importance of vitamins was unknown to us until the early 1900s, when a British scientist, Sir Frederick Gowland Hopkins, demonstrated that animals can even die if their diet lacks vitamin. In those early years, scientists were not aware of the chemical composition of these compounds. So, they called them vitamins and assigned a letter of the English alphabet to each. Now, of course, we know their compositions. They are even manufactured by the drug companies for the treatment of people who are suffering from these deficiency diseases. Though chemical names have been given to vitamins, they were still referred to as vitamin A or vitamin B or vitamin C and so on. Vitamins then can be classified into those which are soluble in water and those which are soluble in fats. So, we classify vitamins in two categories. Now, remember that for vitamins to perform their functions in the body, they must be in solution. Some 20 vitamins have been isolated so far. These include vitamin A group of vitamins called B complex, and in same way vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K are also there. Vitamin B complex includes vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B6. In this way, each vitamin influences some vital function of the body. So, these are about the vitamins which are required for our body. Now, next we can say about minerals. Our body also need small quantities of some elements such as sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chlorine, iron, fluorine, sulfur, phosphorus and iodine. These elements are referred to as minerals. The food we eat includes compounds containing these elements. For example, common salt contains sodium and chlorine. Some minerals are also present in the water that we drink. Though minerals are needed only in small quantities, here also you have to keep in mind that although they are needed in small quantities, it does not imply that we can run our life without these small quantities of mineral. No, we are bound to take these minerals and they are absolutely essential for the growth and functioning of the body. For example, say calcium and phosphorus help in building strong bones and teeth. Calcium also helps to regulate the heart and in clotting of blood. We get our requirement of calcium from milk, milk products, green vegetables, peas and beans. A lack of calcium can make bones and muscles become weak and affect our heartbeat. Cereals, pulses, milk and fish are good sources of phosphorus. Iron in the same way is present in cereals, pulses, meat, leafy vegetables and eggs is another important mineral. So we require iron also. It helps in the formation of blood. The lack of iron in the body causes anemia, a disease that affects the formation of blood and makes people look pale or rather fade and they feel tired. So this is about the symptoms of anemia. The lack of iodine in the same way in the diet may cause goiter, a disease in which a gland in the throat swells up. So students, there are many this kind of related diseases which you will learn in some higher classes, where you will see that yes, there are many corresponding diseases which will develop due to the deficiency in vitamins and also due to the deficiency of minerals. Now, water is also very important for our life. Water, in fact, accounts for about 70% of our body weight of each and every individual. Human beings have been known to survive without food for over 3 weeks. Try to understand. Human beings have been known to survive without food for over 3 weeks, but they may die in 2 or 3 days without water. This much fact, I think, is enough to make you understand the very importance of water for our daily life. We take in water not only directly by drinking, but also as a part of food that we eat. The amount of water an animal needs to drink depends on how much water it loses by sweating, excreting, and so on. You can understand very well when you are passing your days during the hot summer season. On the other side, when you are passing your daily life in the winter or the rainy season, you will feel the requirement of water increasing during the hot summer season, but in the winter or in the monsoon season, we are less interested to drink water. In the same way, many desert animals are there who do not need to drink water. They make do with the water contained in their diet. Water is needed for many vital functions of our body. Point number 1, all the chemical reactions in the body like digestion which occur in the dissolved or the solute state. Second point, water helps to carry digested food around the body. Third point, it also carries wastes which are thrown out of the body in the form of sweat and urine. As a constituent of blood, it helps to carry chemicals and gases throughout the body. And fourthly, water also helps to regulate the body temperature through the process of sweating. Now, excretion, sweating, and breathing makes us lose about 2 to 3 liters of water every day. About 1.5 liter is made up by drinking water and other liquids. The rest comes from food. Fruits and vegetables contains also a lot of water. We can get a fair idea of the water content of vegetables by baking them or letting them dry in the sun. So, this is about the various water content of the body. We can perform some experiments also regarding knowing of this water content of the various fruits and vegetables. We can do this by various activity. I think this very activity regarding the measurement of the amount of water in various vegetables and fruits, we can continue in our next discussion. Today we have discussed about protein, about the sources of protein, about the test, the confirmatory test of the presence of protein. We discussed about vitamins, about its importance, the types of protein, vitamins. We also discussed about minerals, and finally we discussed about water. So here we are ending today. In the next discussion we will continue our explanation. Till then, goodbye.